boxing fans were left shaking their heads after the highly anticipated rematch between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol flopped in the US market. Despite racking up 340,000 pay-per-view buys worldwide, the real story is in the shockingly low American numbers, proof that fans had zero interest in watching a fight they knew would be a snooze fest. Let's be real, when the first fight was forgettable, why would anyone rush to see the sequel? It's like forcing people to rewatch a bad movie and expecting them to cheer. The brutal truth, fans didn't want this fight, and the numbers prove it. The Saudi organizers clearly miscalculated big time. They banked on a rematch that had no hype, no real rivalry, and no action-packed promise. Bivol's defensive, slow-paced style and Beterbiev's aging reflexes turned what should have been a high-stakes battle into a tedious, drawn-out chess match. Fans aren't here for careful footwork and cautious jabs. They want fireworks, knockouts, and real drama. With US PPV numbers tanking, it's obvious. Boxing fans aren't interested in round 3. It's time for promoters to wake up and start making fights people actually want to see. The February 22nd rematch between undisputed light heavyweight champion Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol recorded 340,000 pay-per-view (PPV) buys worldwide. While that number might seem decent at first glance, it doesn't tell the full story. One of the most important factors when analyzing a fight's success is how well it performed in the US market, which is often the biggest driver of PPV sales. Reports suggest that US numbers were underwhelming, which indicates that American fans weren't particularly excited about this fight. Many boxing fans in the US simply didn't have much interest in this rematch, and there are clear reasons for that. The first fight between Beterbiev and Bivol failed to deliver an exciting spectacle, leaving viewers disappointed. Since their initial bout wasn't action-packed or memorable, it's understandable why fans weren't eager to see them go at it again just 4 months later. In many ways, this situation is like being asked to watch a bad movie for a second time. If people didn't enjoy it the first time, they certainly won't be thrilled about sitting through a repeat performance. Critics argue that the event's organizers, particularly those in Saudi Arabia, misjudged the situation. The lack of enthusiasm from fans was evident well before the fight even took place, and the low PPV numbers after the event confirmed that people simply weren't interested. Organizers need to take these signals seriously, because forcing matchups that fans don't want to see only leads to poor sales and lackluster engagement. Given how poorly this rematch performed, the idea of scheduling a third fight between these two fighters seems even less appealing. One of the biggest problems with this matchup is Bivol's fighting style. While he is technically skilled, many fans find his approach to boxing dull and uneventful. His defensive strategy and ability to move around the ring make it difficult for opponents to engage in a thrilling exchange, which is what viewers want to see in a big fight. On the other hand, Beterbiev, now 40 years old, has noticeably slowed down. He no longer has the same explosiveness and aggression that made him a feared fighter in his prime. His ability to cut off the ring and put pressure on his opponents has significantly declined, and he doesn't throw as many punches as he once did. This combination of Bivol's elusive style and Beterbiev's aging reflexes made for a fight that was frustrating to watch rather than entertaining. At the end of the day, event organizers need to pay closer attention to what fans actually want. When a fight doesn't generate excitement and produces disappointing PPV numbers, scheduling another rematch is simply not a good decision. Boxing fans crave fresh and engaging matchups that bring energy and unpredictability to the ring. Recycling the same fights, especially ones that have already failed to capture interest, only pushes fans further away. If the goal is to keep the sport alive and attract more viewers, promoters need to make smarter choices about which fights deserve a big stage. Boxing is a sport that thrives on excitement, drama, and unpredictable matchups. When fans tune in for a fight, they want to see action, intensity, and the possibility of knockouts or dramatic momentum swing. The rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol failed to deliver on those expectations, just as their first fight did. When a fight lacks explosive moments or compelling storylines, it becomes difficult to market and even harder to sell to fans. This is why the low PPV numbers were not surprising. Boxing promoters need to recognize that forcing rematches for fights that didn't capture public interest the first time around is a bad business move.